This is the question asked in today's skillrack daily challenge. So first we are given the value of the integer n, and then we are given the value of x, and then integer y, and then integer z. So we are given the values of 4 integer variables. So now we have to form a series with n integers. So here the value of n is equal to 10. So our output contains 10 integers, and it is also given in the question that the integers x, y, z are the first 3 integers in our output. So here also we can see that the first 3 integers of our series are the variables x, y, and z. So in this series, every 3 integer is formed using the previous 3 integer. So now we are given the first 3 integers. Using these 3 integers, we can form the next 3 integers. So the first 3 integers are 10, 40, and 20. So now using these values, we are going to form the next 3 values. So the first integer out of the next 3 integer is the sum of first and second integer of the previous 3 integers. So the sum of first and second integer of the previous 2 integers is 10 plus 40. So 10 plus 40 is equal to 50. So this value will be the first integer out of the next 3 integers. So here we can see that the first integer of the next 3 integers is 50. And now the second integer of the next 3 integers will be the sum of second and third integer of the previous 3 integers. So the previous 3 integers are 10, 40, and 20, and in this the sum of second and third is 40 plus 20. So it is 60. So the second integer of the next 3 integers is 60. And now the third integer of the next 3 integer is the sum of first and third integer of the previous 3 integers. So the first integer is 10 and the third integer is 20. So 10 plus 20 is equal to 30, and the third integer of the next 3 integers is 30. So we have formed the next 3 integers using the values of x, y, and z. So this is how our series is formed. Using every 3 integer, we will be forming the next 3 integer, and using the newly formed 3 integers, we will form the next 3 integers. So now what we are going to do is, using the values of 50, 60, and 30, we are going to form the next 3 integers. So the next 3 integers are 110, 90, and 80. Here also we have used the same technique, so let us see it. So the first integer out of the next 3 integer is the sum of first and second integer of the previous 3 integers. So the first and second of previous 3 integers is 50 and 60. So 50 plus 60 is equal to 110. So the first integer of next 3 integer is 110. And now the second integer of the next 3 integers is the sum of second and third of the previous 3 integers. So 60 plus 30 is equal to 90. And now the third integer of the next 3 integers is the sum of first and third integer of the previous 3 integers. So 50 plus 30. So these are the first and third integers, and the sum of them is 80. So 50 plus 30 is equal to 80. So the third integer of the next 3 integers is 80. So now using the integers 50, 60, and 30, again we have formed 3 more integers. So now using these 3 integers 110, 90, and 80, we can form the next 3 integers. So let us do it. So the first integer would be first and second. So 110 plus 90 is equal to 200. And now the second of the next 3 would be second and third of previous 3. So 90 plus 80 would be the second of the next 3 integers. So 90 plus 80 is equal to 170. So I am writing it down. And then the third integer of the next 3 would be the first and third of the previous 3 integers. So the first and third integers are 110 and 80. So 110 plus 80 will be 190. So that would be the third integer of the next 3. So now using the values 110, 90, and 80, again we have formed next 3 integers. But in our output we need to print only 10 integers. So we are printing the first 10 integers in this series. So we need not print the last 2 integers 170 and 190. So this is how this series is formed. We are given the first three integers of the series, and using those three integers we are forming the next three integers, and using those next three integers again we are forming the next three integers for them. So like this we will be forming our series, and in this series we will be printing the first n integers. That would be our expected output. We follow the same procedure for the sample input too. Now let us see how to write a C program for this. So first I am creating four integer variables n, x, y and z, and in the next line I am accepting the values of all the variables n, x, y and z, and then I am creating a new array named series, and the size of this array is n, and it is of data type long. So we will be storing long variables in this array series. So we are given the question that the first three integers of the series are x, y, z. So I am setting their values into the series array. So series of 0 is equal to x, and then series of 1 is equal to y, and then series of 2 is equal to z. So what we are doing is we are just storing the values of the variables x, y and z into the series array. So the integer x is stored at index 0 and y at index 1 and then z at index 2. So we have the first three integers of the series in the array series. So using these three integers we can form the next three integers. So I am going to use a loop for this, and now the integers are filled at the index 0, 1 and 2. So now we should start filling the integers from the index 3. So that is why this loop starts from 3, and this loop iterates until I is less than n, and in every iteration the value of I will be incremented by 3. And this condition I plus equal to 3 is similar to I is equal to I plus 3. So in every iteration the value of I will be incremented by 3, because in every iteration of this loop we will be filling integers at 3 index I plus 1 and I plus 2. So that is why we increment the value of I by 3 in every iteration. So first we are going to check whether the index I is less than n. So only when I is less than n we will be performing operation, because we need to check whether we are within the bound. So if I is less than n, then we are setting series of I is equal to series of I minus 3 plus series of I minus 2. So this series of I is the first integer of the next three integer, and this series of I minus 3 is the first integer of the previous three integer. So I minus 3 would be the first of previous three integer, and series of I minus 2 would be the second of the previous three integer. So the sum of first and second of the previous three integer would be the first of three integers. So that is what we are doing in the first line, and after that the second integer of the next three integer would be I plus 1. So first we are checking whether I plus 1 is less than n. If it is true, then we are going to find the value. So series of I plus 1. So the second integer of the next three integers would be the sum of second and third integer of the previous three integers. So the previous three integers, second would be I minus 2. So series of I minus 2 would be the second of the previous three integers. So and the third integer of the previous three would be I minus 1. So we are adding these two integers. So series of I minus 2 plus series of I minus 1, that would be the sum of second and third of the previous three integers. So we are setting the sum of those values as the second integer of the next three integers. And now I plus 2. So that would be the third integer of the next three integers. So first we are checking whether I plus 2 is less than n. If it is true, then series of I plus 2 would be equal to, that is the third integer of the next three integer would be the sum of first and third integer of the previous three integer. So the third integer is the series of I minus 1, and the first integer of the previous three integer would be series of I minus 3. So we are adding those two, that is we are adding the integers present at the index I minus 1 and I minus 3, and that sum is stored in the variable series of I plus 2, that is the third integer of the next three integers. So this is what we will be doing in every iteration of this loop. So in every iteration of this loop, using the values of the previous three integers, if it is possible, we are forming the next three integers and storing into this series array. And the next iteration of this loop, the new values will be used to form the next three integers. Like this we will be doing again and again until I is less than n, and finally after the for loop finishes its execution, now our expected series will be stored in the array named series. Again I am using a for loop and I am printing the first n integers that is present in the array series, and here I have used printf %ld because it is a long array, so we need to use %ld. Now let us check our program with sample test cases. So this is the sample input 1. So let us give it. So these are the first 10 integers for the sample input 1. So in our output also we can see that we get the correct output. So now let us give our sample input 2. So we have our expected output for the sample input 2. So again we get the correct output. So this is the logic behind today's daily challenge. Thank you for watching.